Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. Big shout out to our notification gang. Thank you so much for your continuous love and support. Thank you. I wanted to talk about your hair, your afro. Let's talk about why your afro is not afroing, why your afro does not look nice. And we're talking about it because I want your afro to look nice. I want everyone to flourish and I want everyone to thrive. And I've been in circumstances or situations when I've seen that someone is trying to do the right thing, but they're missing a little bit. So I'm going to give you guys some tips and some tricks on how to perfect your afro and how to make sure that your afro looks nice, pretty much. So we're just going to jump straight into it. First couple of things. Number one, when you are prepping for your afro, when you're prepping to do your hair, you do not just decide on the day that you're going to do an afro, especially a nice one. So some of you, when you see my hair looking the way that it is, when you see me out wherever I am at a wedding or at church, since that's pretty much wherever I go, when you see me out and about and I have my afro out, whether it's out in its wash and go state, or whether it's blown out or whatever the state it is in, there's pre-planning that would have been done. So I would have prepped my hair and made sure that my hair is appropriate to be able to do that style for the next day. Couple factors that I take into consideration when I'm prepping, and there are some times when I would want to do an afro but I actually don't end up wearing it because my hair is just not functioning the way that I need it to. First thing that you need to do is make sure that your hair is well moisturized and make sure that your hair is well detangled. If your hair is not detangled, you will not be able to do your afro well. You won't be able to do it nicely because you'll have knots and stuff in your hair, and the main part of the afro is actually to comb out your afro. That's the main part. Combing it out and fluffing it is the most important part, and you can't do that if your hair is matted and it's dry and it's brittle. If it's dry and it's brittle and it's matted and it's knotted, you are going to do more damage to your hair, and that's how you end up having that sparsy looking afro where it's just like sparse and it doesn't look very nice and it looks like you just woke up and didn't actually do anything with your hair. You don't want your hair to look like you didn't do anything to it, that it wasn't styled. You want your hair to look like you actually styled it, and there's nothing worse than your hair looking like it wasn't styled when you styled it. Secondly, you want to make sure that you're using the appropriate equipment. You do not use a fine-tooth comb. You do not use any other comb. You have to use an afro comb. That's what it's made for. Because the hair are they bristles? What are these things called? I don't know. The claws, the claws in your comb are long in an afro comb. So they help you to get the volume that you require, and they help you to spruce your hair from root to tip. Because if your hair is well moisturized, if your hair is well detangled, you can put your afro comb in from root to tip. When your hair is not well moisturized, when your hair is not well detangled, you will put your comb in and it will stop. Then you will start raking out. When you're not meant to be raking your hair, you're meant to be what? Fluffing. Because the whole point is that you're fluffing your hair out. You're fluffing your hair out. So the most of the things that you require is an afro comb and a spritz bottle. You need a spritz bottle because the thing with our hair is that our hair usually has different lengths and stuff like that. If you don't usually get it cut professionally and stuff, it'll have different lengths. So you don't want one section of your afro to be larger than the other side, depending on how you're styling it. So if I'm styling my hair down, then it doesn't really matter. I'll still spritz my hair a little bit. If you're styling it out, for me, the back of my head has longer hair than the top of my head and a looser curl texture. So I will need to make sure that the back of my head is tucked in well. So when you're doing your tucking in process, once you've finished combing out your hair, you use your spritz bottle to help give that sort of rounded look instead of it looking very sparse. instead of looking sparse. It's the same way that you put a setting spray on your face. You put a setting spray on your hair so that it will just help, like the ends of your hair will kind of curl a little bit into each other and create that nice rounded sort of that manicured bush look. That's what you're trying to go for, that manicured bush look. Because when you have all the sparse ends popping out there, that's when it starts to look a little scruffy. And if that's what you're going for, then fine, make it look the way that you want it to go. But if you're trying to go for that nice manicured afro, even if you're wanting to go for that sparse kind of look, you still need to make sure that there's no random long hairs just poking out and stuff like that. You want to make sure that you spritz with the spritz bottle around your hair and pat it a little bit to ensure that those are the hairs on the outside. And that even the same way when you're doing your puff. So I do the same thing with my puff. Once I've combed out my puff and I'm done, I will spritz around to just make sure that all those little hairs around are like nice and just curled up, so that it creates a nice sort of rounded look and it's not like frizzy looking, that frizzy look. Next, you want to make sure that when you are doing your stretching before, so if you were stretching your hair or you're just putting it out, whether you're putting it in 3-strand, whether you're putting it in 2-strand twists, you want to make sure that you use your LCO or your LOC technique. What you want to make sure is that you get rid of all the frizziness, because the frizziness, you're going to create it anyway when you start doing your hair. So you don't want to start with frizziness already. You don't want to start with your hair looking already very rough and unkept. You want to start with hair that is a good palette or a good canvas. And the best way to have the best canvas is to make sure that you sleep in your bonnet or your satin scarf or your satin pillowcase, whatever, and that your hair is put away. So in your 2-strand twist or in whatever you want to put it in. Sometimes if I don't have time or I haven't put it in my 2-strand twist or whatever, what I'll make sure that I'll do is that I will leave my hair in the bun that it was in. So if I'm going from bun to bun, I'll make sure that I put it and then I leave it in the bun, then I put my satin bonnet on top, right? Then I'll sleep with it like that. But at some point I would have done my pre-prep. So what's really most important is your technique and the state of your hair. At some point you'll get to a point where you can just like that. Like for me, I can do my hair in the car because I know how to do my hair so well, but it didn't happen overnight. There were times when my hair was looking junky, and over time you start to get to a point where even after shrinkage, your afro still looks nice and your afro still looks good because you've styled it that way. And I know that for me, one of the reasons why I hated wearing my afro out was because once my hair shrinks from being out in the day, my afro would look crazy, but it would have been okay in the afternoon. So that's when it goes back to your styling process. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed those tips. And I hope I've answered the question to the girl who sent me the email regarding how to style your afro and making sure your afro doesn't look like your hair has been unkept. If you have any other suggestions down the bottom for those who would love to wear their afro, comment down below and I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you guys so much. Mwah.